Hello, 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 everyone. I have exciting news for you, especially for our young parents. There is a DVD that's out now. It's been on Amazon.com for a while now, and it's called Parenting on Purpose. I was able to put it together a few years ago and published it by way of DVD on Amazon.com. I felt led to do it because I realized that we're getting into a new generation, tomorrow's leaders, and they're different from our time. Also, the fact that I'm raised from a single parent background and I understand the difficulties of being raised. It's a trial and error kind of situation, right? And I too or have gone through the single parent process myself, raising my child. Didn't start out that way, but it ended that way, right? And so it was very challenging, and so I thought to myself, I would be able to help the next generation in, guiding them in preparing their children for what is to come, right? Just to be effective or sharpening their parenting skills because parenting is also innate. It comes naturally, it flows, the juices flow, but the guidance is necessary. It starts in a seed form, but then you have to nurture it, build it, and do all the different things to point it in the right direction as best as possible. So, this DVD, as I said, it's called Parenting with Purpose. And just to introduce myself, I am Reverend Margaret Smith, and I am president and founder of Impact Covenant Ministry, a ministry that cares for hurting women and their families. And training and empowerment is a part of some of the services that or programs that we offer. We also provide intercessory prayer, Christian counseling, and a host of other things to prepare our women so that they can live successful, productive lives. And so this is one of the many products that we have out there on Amazon.com. So I developed 5 sessions, and in the 5 sessions, I'm just going to share with you what it consists of. So, first of all, of course, we get into just introducing the product and understanding the developmental stages of a child. Session two is parental roles, paternal and maternal, toxic thoughts, and children. And of course, we credit all of the individuals that I took my research from using their material. And so at the end of the DVD, the credits are issued. But just for this moment, I used some information from Caroline Leaf, which is so, so, so extensive and so good, and also other internet resources, third party research. Okay. Session three, 9 steps to more effective parenting. Session four, how to survive the teenage years. Very challenging years. Mistakes, session five, mistakes made by Christian parents for of teens. And then of course we have a summarized version of everything. So you can go back through and just look at the summary. All right. And so we offer this by way of, like a course material where you can be certified as well for whatever program you need certification for, to ensure that you're sharpening your skills as a very effective parent. So let's begin. Let's dig in. Raising children today is not the same as it used to be in generations past. And I'm sure you will agree with that, those of us from the older generation. Growing up as children today is not the same as it was even 20 years ago. It's a total different environment, and it is even more challenging. We're in a technological age. Our society has changed. Temptations have changed. Peer pressures have changed. And it has all affected our families. Today, our mission is to help break through a number of problems and crisis areas that impact parenting with purpose tomorrow's leaders. So we're going to go right into understanding the developmental stage of a child. Okay. Some children develop normally while others sustain delayed growth development. According to Erickson's psychosocial dilemma, here is a summary of what is normal during the age range development. Stage 1, first year of life, trust versus mistrust. So in their first year of life, they have the challenge of what to trust and what to not trust. And but anyway, this cause complete dependency on others. So at this age, in this first stage, they depend on the parent or parents wholly and solely. Stage 2, ages 1 to 3 years, autonomy versus shame and doubt. So they go through the process of autonomy, trying to be in charge, or easily shamed, or just apprehensive or doubtful. Growing self control is expressed by climbing, touching, exploring, and a general desire to do things for themselves. So they start exploring, they want to be independent, but they still have to be guided. Stage 3, 3 to 5 years. Initiative versus guilt. The child moves from simple self control to an ability to take initiative. So, simple self control, and then eventually they begin to take their own initiative. Stage 4, ages 6 to 12. They're growing up, and they do that fast these days. Industry versus inferiority. Industry versus inferiority. So this begins with first day of school and the different experiences onward throughout school life. So they go through the process of change, getting to know their peers, and just the differences that they face, whether it makes them feel inferior or it makes them feel superior, or just somewhere in the middle. Stages 5, adolescence, which is identity versus role confusion. So right there, they're trying to figure out, who am I? What's going on? Adolescence, caught between childhood and adulthood. So they're caught between childhood and adulthood, and they're getting ready to transition from one to the other. And their question, as I said earlier, is, who am I? Who am I? Stage 6, young adult, intimacy versus isolation. Intimacy versus isolation. The need to achieve intimacy. They begin to recognize that their bodies are changing. They're beginning to desire intimacy from the opposite sex and all that. So, this is a very critical time when we really have to spend that quality time as parents with our young children. Amen. All right, so that deals with their developmental stage. Let's go a little further into parental roles, paternal and maternal. So this is where it's important that parents understand their roles, because this also helps the child to understand who they are and who they're going to be when they grow up. All right, because it's a domino effect. It's a system set up by God, as biblically stated, establishes role for mother and father. Both parents are essential in a child's life. Both parents are essential in a child's life. Now, we know that in these days, there are a lot of single parent families out there, right? That's why it's so important. It takes a community to raise a child, because if the dad is not, there, then in a community, they will have the male influence, just by others in the community coming to the aid of these parents. The role of a mother, let's look at that first. Being a mother is a very important role that the Lord chooses to give to many women. A Christian mother is told to love her children, in part so that she does not bring reproach to the Lord and on the Savior whose name she bears. The Greek word philotechnos appears in reference to mothers loving their children. This word represents a special kind of mother's love. If I heard it said a mother's love, nothing like a mother's love. Christian mothers should be, and there are a list of things that we should identify that mothers should be. One, they should be available and morning, noon, and night. Now we know that as from the single parent process or from the career mothers, that time is very challenging, and so they'll have to be good managers of their time to be able to pull this off. They should also be involved, interacting, discussing, thinking, and processing life together. Teachers, they should be teachers of the scriptures and a biblical worldview. All right, so they should be teaching their children the way of the Lord and also just the whole worldview as well, meaning the foundational aspect of the Bible as it relates to the world that we live in, because we live in this world. Trainers. They should be trainers, helping a child to develop skills and discover his or her strength and spiritual gifts. So it's important that the child is taught or trained by the parents. As a matter of fact, she should be observing those gifts that the child have and point it in the right direction, right? Which means they need to spend quality time with their children. Disciplinarians, teaching the fear of the Lord, drawing the line consistently, lovingly, firmly, right? And so they're supposed to be setting boundaries as it relates to disciplining their children, all right? And now, also, Christian mothers should be nurturers. Very important. That's what the female are naturally nurturers. And so, mothers ought to be nurturers, providing an environment of constant verbal support, freedom to fail. You're not a perfect mom. No perfect mom out there. Amen. Providing an environment for constant verbal support, freedom to fail, acceptance, affection, unconditional love. So there's some things that as a mother, the child is might just be very difficult, but we have to love them no matter what. Models integrity. This is very important. Living what you say, being a model from which a child can learn by catching the essence of godly living, right? And not only in godly living, but just how to conduct themselves, how to behave themselves properly, and appropriately. It depends on how the mother, what the what the example that is the example that's being set for the child. All right. Um, and so that's it for our mothers. Actually, we continue a little bit further where we look at not only their roles but their behavioral pattern. And so we have here mothers have a unique and crucial role in the lives of their children. Motherhood is not a chore or an unpleasant task. Mothers also play an ongoing role in the lives of their children, whether they are adolescents, teenagers, young adults, or even adults with children of their own. So, motherhood parenting does not stop. It continues. My God, I thought it ended at maybe age 18. Oh boy. Oh no, to me, that's when it begins. While the role of motherhood must change and develop, the love, care, nurture, and encouragement a mother gives should never cease. Never cease. Here are some characteristics of a foolish woman or a foolish mother according to Proverbs 9:13. That mother is loud, boisterous, murmuring, and noisy. Her spirit is disquieted. She's obviously unsatisfied. That is a foolish or just not a very wise mother. And here are some characteristics of a wise mother or a wise woman. Wise mother, they are meek and they're of a meek and quiet spirit. She provides for her household. That's according to Proverbs 31, verse 10. She provides for the needs. In other words, a mother needs to spend time nurturing her children. She's careful about her manner of speaking. She has a high degree of love and care for her children. A high degree of love. Let's look at the father's role quickly. The role of a father should love and take delight in his children, instructing, commanding, commanding, disciplining their children. Discipline stems from a father's delight in his child. Just as God seeks to instruct his people by speaking his word to them, human fathers are to pass on God's instructions and wisdom to their children, especially to their sons. So the father's primary role is to educate his children. Wise and godly children are key to a father's happiness. This means that fathers can promote their own happiness by teaching their children well. Father should also be great providers. Father should be what? Great providers. All right. And so we're going to stop right here on the parental role of both father and mother. And we're going to continue on next time with toxic thoughts and children. Toxic thoughts and children. That's very important for us to make sure that our children have or practice positive thoughts, and that's not easy. All right, so join me again next time here on this program on parenting with purpose. And also, I remind you to go to Amazon.com and purchase the DVD, which you will have, and you can go over it, and you can go over it as parents, mother and father, husband and wife. You can sit down together and go through this in your own time. All right, you can, while you're in your car, you can slip it in and you can be listening to the audio version of it. Thank you for listening, and God bless you. This is Reverend Smith once again saying, just be blessed and stay safe. Love you all.